Peace, guys. Patrick, ConservativeRap, and welcome to where we cover the domestic, the political, the geopolitical, the financial, and in many instances, as you've been seeing with the America First agenda as compared to the hyper-radical leftist commie nonsense, the moral and the ethical as well. Now, the narrative for the deep state is falling apart. The narrative for the Democrats is falling apart, and it's comical to see them defend it. Inflation is being countered with lower fuel costs, and it's really the opposite of tariffs. Tariffs don't dilute the value of the currency in the same way inflation does. And it's really fantastic to see all of this play out over time. You might remember back in the day, Obama made a comment about Trump not having a magic wand. And it looks like Trump, in fact, does have, to use 50 Cent's term, the magic stick. People are noticing the shift economically, and they're noticing the Fed doesn't know what they're talking about. He went to Saudi Arabia, got $6 billion in investments. He's really doing the opposite of what they predicted and the opposite of what they've done. And it's going to be creating millions of jobs here. It's awesome. They were preparing, in my mind, these corrupt politicians, these deep state actors, the FBI, the CIA, the fake news media, all of their plants across the globe, really preparing China, if you think about it over the last few decades, to be the next superpower and economically cripple America and have America be the next third world country. That was the plan, and Trump's undermining all of that, which is why they have a problem. So let's get into some specific examples. I'm going to share my screen here. Let's take a quick look at X. Check this out, and just more examples of leftist narrative versus the truth that people are realizing now. Mary Catherine Ham on X says, these refineries are D, as in Democrat, different, just like Bernie Sanders' jets. And what she's talking about is Hawaii suing the oil industry for causing climate change, but sparing the state's largest refiner whose executives donated to the Dems. And this is from the Free Beacon. The state of Hawaii filed a major lawsuit against a dozen major oil companies, but Hawaii's sprawling complaint, which prosecutors hope will force the oil industry defendants to pay hundreds of millions of dollars of damages, excluded Houston-based Par Pacific and its subsidiary Par Hawaii, the oil company that operates Hawaii's sole petroleum refinery and remains the state leading supplier of gas and jet fuel. That means prosecutors spared a company that is likely to be the single largest driver of the emissions in the state. So you head over to the Washington Free Beacon, and it goes into depth about this, right? Who they donated to and why. And it just goes to show the hypocrisy of these people. It's very hard for them to control the narrative with the information. Thank God Elon took over X, honestly, because he's really bringing a lot of this stuff to the close. And again, people are really starting to see it. Next, let's move on back to X. This is from the Gateway Pundit. Let's scroll up here. And check this out. April's inflation report came in below expectations. Talk about economic news, economic positives. For the third straight month, grocery prices saw their largest decline in nearly 5 years. Gas prices fell for the third month in a row. Let's take a quick listen to.
We're coming in a little bit lighter than expected. So we came in at 0.2% month over month. The street was looking for 0.3. So that's actually better than what the street thought was going to happen here. 2.3% is the headline number year over year. The street's estimate was 2.4. Yeah. So again, that's a lighter number than expected. 0.2% core month over month. The estimate was 0.3. Again, better than expected. Core year over year came in at 2.8%. That was actually in line. We're coming in a little.
Fantastic. Moving over, let's go straight to the Gateway Pundit. Check this out. Trump economic update. Inflation drops to 2.3%, lowest since 2021, and U.S. Treasury records second biggest Trump surplus in history thanks to Trump's record tariff revenues. And we're just getting started. Now, why isn't the Fed cutting rates? And Trump talks about this. If you check out his Truth Social, bringing to the limelight how corrupt these people are and how it's all part of an agenda. They make you think with their terminology and with their coordinated efforts on information control that things are what they're not. And it's, again, the narrative control is decaying. It went from just politics to now the financial stuff, and he's tearing them apart. It's really awesome to see. Let's move back to X briefly. I just love how much you can kind of cover and check here. This is, again, more from Kibisi letter. I put this out as well. Let's go over to, let's see here. What did I want to cover next? Charlie Kirk, right? Let's go ahead. JP Morgan drops U.S. recession call following trade truce with China. But I thought the sky was falling and economic collapse was imminent. So I'm not going to go to the article, but this talks through it. And again, tactical trade tactics. Trump wrote art of the deal. When he wrote art of the deal, he was even at that point just describing what he was doing in his business day life. And it's fantastic to see this deal making playing out. Here you have JP Morgan, again, adapting to what's happening. Moving on, let's go back to the Gateway Pundit. This was awesome. I love this. I don't know if you guys saw the clip with the Saudi Arabia meeting. Trump ended up securing $600 billion in investment from a Saudi crown prince. Says visit to Saudi Arabia could bring 2 million jobs to the USA. President Trump held a bilateral meeting with the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman on Tuesday during his first leg of his Middle East tour, where he signed a strategic economic partnership that he said could bring 2 million jobs to the United States. It's only his 100th day in office, and he already secured $5.2 trillion in private and foreign investments from American businesses, set to create an estimated 451,000 American jobs. But it appears this trend isn't slowing down anytime soon. And this goes on, but I think you guys are getting the agenda. It's excellent to see where we're going, and we're looking at a new economic reality. I think Bahizi tweets on X sums it up pretty well. Let's go ahead and keep it moving. All right, check this out.
The original sin of how the modern economy in America is structured, the president talks about more than anything else. And I guess to Caroline's point about the overall economic vision, the original sin was that we created a tax system that punished you for making something in America and rewarded you for making something in China or a foreign country. So in other words, if you had your factory in America, you paid a sky-high corporate tax rate, you were beaten to death with regulation, you had radically unaffordable energy prices, and Washington just in every way made your life miserable.
And the political class didn't do anything about it. They allowed it to happen.
Correct.
Well,
they sat by and watched it happen for decades.
They actually wanted the opposite to happen, especially if you look at the 90s when we had NAFTA, we had the WTO, we had the entry of China into the WTO. The goal very clearly was to remove U.S. tariff and trade barriers to make it easier for people to outsource to China. Because once we gave China what we call permanent normal trade relations, all of your manufacturers in the United States who are thinking in short terms in terms of quarterly earnings and that kind of thing, they said, listen, now I can go move my factory from Indiana or wherever, I can put it in China, I can put it in Mexico, and I know I will have sure access to the U.S. market. Today, President Trump is saying the best place to make American products and sell American products is here in America.
Amazing. Amazing. And then here's George Bahizi tweets. Some of the major promises Trump made during his campaign are including in the latest draft of a tax bill. The draft includes, check this again, back to taxation being theft, and us reframing our entire narrative on a lot of this stuff. The draft includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on car loan interest, words becoming action. And lastly, to top it off, not only does the Trump-backed tax bill eliminate taxes on tips and overtime, it also establishes a MAGA savings accounts for American kids. The account for growth and advancement program will set aside $1,000 for each child, tax-free. And again, I love this picture here. Guys, think about it. We're tariffing other countries. We're bringing money into the United States. We're bringing the manufacturers back. I won't be surprised by this time next year, we're going to be talking about ending the Fed, going to Bitcoin and gold as like alternative currencies, and really altering the economic trajectory and freeing us from this creature from Jekyll Island financial enslavement system. This is the financial portion we really need to take care of and take heed of. I think, not only is it when they cut the government, like undermining their ability to fund their operations globally, but people are going to look back to a time like this and they're going to say, wow, fake news had a propaganda outlet that lied to the people. Wow, Big Pharma had the population under control, had people taking like experimental drugs, experimental vaccines, and controlling their social lives because of it. Wow, the people were under a multi-generational inflationary petrodollar system with a government perpetually being controlled by a private corporation called the Federal Reserve, using them as tax slaves while their own dollars lost value. New reality that we're heading into, guys. Let's get prepared for greatness, and let's take a careful heed at what's happening. It's America first, and it's the dawn of a golden age. Subscribe. Feel free to comment, like, share, and check me out also on TikTok and Instagram for the poetry and the rhymes to follow in succession. God bless, and look forward to more shortly.